Listen, so their policy is you can't record in here.
You're NYPD now? You're NYPD now?
Always been. Listen,
no.
You have to leave because you're not allowed to record in here.
You want to read their policies?
Their policies that you cannot record in here.
The first line.
Their staff is asking us to remove you, and they... I don't remember you. I
remember you.
Oh, that's nice. I hope you like me. Time to go. All right?
Why would I need to leave? I have a right to be here, and I'm conducting business.
No, you're not conducting business. And the thing is that you have to go through...
Read the policy. Right there. I'm handing it to you.
He told me.
Who is he?
The security guard. The head security guard said that you need to leave, and they have a right to kick you out.
Photography and photocopying policy, right? I'm going to read it to you because if you violate my rights, you can't say that you didn't know.
That's our job.
It's no negotiation. No.
So you could just ask anybody to leave a public building just because.
Yes.
They want you to.
They
what
said
if I was
complaints from every staff member on every single floor that you're recording them and you're being a nuisance, and you're not allowed to do that inside the library.
How am I being a nuisance?
You have to leave.
How am I being a nuisance?
You are recording them and you are not allowed to do that inside.
So photography is a nuisance?
Sir,
can I speak to your supervisor, please?
They can't record in here, right? You're willing to? Nope. All right.
Read this. Handheld cameras are permitted.
Listen.
First line. Handheld cameras are permitted. This is their rules.
You have to.
Why?
Why? Because you are not allowed.
What crime am I committing?
You're not part of any media. You do not have prior permission to record in here.
All right, guys. Today we're looking at a heated confrontation inside a public library where tensions rise almost immediately over recording policies and constitutional rights. The moment officers approach the man filming, they insist that library policy prohibits recording and begin demanding that he leave the building. But instead of backing down, the man immediately pushes back, arguing that he has every legal right to record inside a taxpayer-funded public facility. What makes this opening intense is how quickly the conversation shifts from a simple policy discussion into a constitutional argument. The auditor repeatedly challenges the officers to explain what actual crime he committed, while officers continue relying on library rules rather than criminal law. The situation becomes more confrontational when the man starts reading the written policy out loud and points directly to language that appears to allow handheld cameras. Right away, viewers can sense that neither side is willing to back down from their position.
You now have to leave.
I do have permission.
Step out civilly,
I want to speak to your supervisor.
No problem. He's going to tell you the same thing.
No, he's not.
Tell you.
He's going to honor his oath to the Constitution.
Let's make it back.
I don't want to deal with you because I already got you on camera.
Go ahead.
Cursing me out, so I don't want to deal with you. I don't want to deal with you. I'd rather deal with somebody that I never had contact with. Because right now, it seems you didn't do no investigation. You just went off of his word, right?
I want you to respond here.
Why are you asking me to leave a public place I have a right to be?
They want you to leave, so you gotta leave.
Okay, what if they wanted me to smack myself? I gotta smack myself?
No, that's different.
Right. I have a right to be here just like everybody else. I'm not being disorderly. I'm walking around peacefully recording. The public workers. Can I record you? Can I record you? So why can't I record the city workers?
They're not city workers.
They work. New York is funded.
They're security guards.
The public library is funded by tax dollars.
You record me all you want.
I can record government workers in the course of their duty. Read case law. You need to read case law because you enforce the law.
My job right now is to get you out of this building.
Why? What crime did I commit?
They don't want you in here.
Why would they ask me to leave?
You're being disorderly. You're being a nuisance, and now you have other people watching.
How am I being a nuisance? How?
You were
by simply recording?
They asked you to stop recording.
They never asked.
Now the argument becomes much more direct as the auditor openly accuses the officers of violating their oath to the Constitution. The officers continue insisting that library staff want him removed, while he repeatedly argues that recording government employees in public is protected under the First Amendment. What makes this section powerful is how calmly but aggressively the auditor challenges every statement made by police. He compares the situation to enforcing unconstitutional discrimination policies and keeps demanding to know what specific law he is breaking. Meanwhile, the officers appear focused entirely on enforcing library policy rather than explaining any criminal violation. The tension keeps building because the auditor refuses to comply unless a supervisor arrives and addresses the constitutional questions directly. At this stage, the encounter stops feeling like ordinary trespassing enforcement and starts looking like a serious debate over civil liberties.
They never asked me to leave.
Because I can ask him and he can say the opposite.
I have on camera. Have you guys ever asked me to leave since I've been here? Have you asked me to leave? Have you asked me to leave since I've been here? Nope. First thing they said when I came in the building was you can record.
Listen, you can hang out here, wait. We don't
I'm going to wait for your supervisor.
My lieutenant's going to be here.
Why not honor your oath? Why not protect my
I'm
rights?
honoring my oath.
I'm in a public building.
These nice men called me here, and they called us to escort you out of this building, and that's as far as I'm concerned with
Why would you escort me out the building?
We don't need to continue any more conversation.
You escort me out if I'm being disorderly, if I'm somewhere I'm not supposed to be, if I'm impeding business.
They said you were not allowed to record.
Can I finish my sentence?
Building, and that's what they've asked
right, you work for me. You work for me.
I also work for them.
You work for me.
So you understand that, right?
And they're not exercising their rights. I am.
Yeah. No,
peacefully.
They are peacefully asking us to escort you out.
For what crime?
You're not allowed to record in here.
He just said I was. And it says right here on their policies. Read their policies.
He actually just said you weren't allowed to record in here.
He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Listen, he's the head security guard as far as I'm concerned.
Read the policy.
And we were asked to escort you out.
Read their policy.
I don't need to read their policy.
So I'm not violating their policy, so why would you ask me to leave?
I abide by what the security
and I'm not breaking the law.
Listen, this is a civil matter, and
I don't want to talk to you no more because this is retaliation. You're trying to retaliate against me because I recorded you before. So
I don't remember you ever recording.
I remember you. I remember you. You work at Midtown South, right?
It's on my press bar.
Yeah, I didn't even look at that. I already know.
It's right here.
If I was somewhere I'm not supposed to be, if I was cursing people out, if I was being disorderly, every time I talk, you cut me off.
Listen, like you said,
me simply recording, me recording is not a disturbance.
You're being a disturbance to these people.
How?
They asked you to leave. I don't know.
Because they don't like what I'm doing? What if they didn't like my shirt? What if they didn't like my religion? You're going to escort me out of a public building?
This part escalates fast as the auditor starts directly confronting the logic behind the officer's actions. He repeatedly points out that library staff initially told him he was allowed to record, making the officer's sudden demand to leave seem inconsistent and questionable. The conversation becomes more heated when the auditor accuses one officer of retaliating against him because of a previous interaction caught on camera. He argues that simply recording in public cannot legally be considered disorderly conduct or a disturbance. What makes this section especially intense is how the auditor uses hypothetical examples involving religion and discrimination to challenge the legality of removing him from a public building. The officers continue insisting that staff feel uncomfortable, but the auditor keeps redirecting the conversation back toward constitutional protections. You can clearly feel the frustration building on both sides as neither side accepts the other's reasoning.
Right.
Inside the library.
It's called freedom of religion. So if I was praying here,
staff has asked you to leave. I don't know what more you want me to say.
If I was praying in this library and they didn't like that I was my religion, they wanted me out because I was praying. You want to enforce their feelings, or do I have freedom of religion?
Are you praying right now?
I wanted to.
So
I came to this library for multiple reasons.
Pray.
You want to ask me to leave while I'm praying because they don't like my religion?
What is going on right here? We didn't find you praying.
I'm going here to conduct business.
The only way
I came here to utilize the library for its purposes.
The only way I'm leaving here right now is if my lieutenant tells me you can stay.
Why wouldn't I be able to stay? I'm not being disorderly. All I'm doing is walking around quietly recording the New York City public workers, which I have a right to do. I can record the government while you're at work.
You'll see what my lieutenant says, okay? How about that? Deal? And then
sure, that's why I asked for him.
And if you're good to stay, then I'll leave.
The Constitution and the law says I'm okay. What you swore an oath to do.
No.
What does the Constitution have to do with? Does the Constitution have to do with your job?
Oh.
Does the Constitution have to do with your job?
This has nothing to do with the Constitution.
It does for me. It does for me.
Because they said you're being disorderly, and they're not comfortable with you recording inside here, and they said that you're not allowed to record inside here. We don't have
to read their policies. Read it. Read the first line. Read the first bulletin.
They just gave this to me. That last bullet point says no photographs of the staff, other researchers, or certain reading rooms may be taken.
That's what
they work for the government. There's case law that I can record them.
It doesn't matter. That's what we're here to explain to you. They said that the staff members don't want you recording.
Okay, I'm still not committing a crime. I have a right to be in a public building.
And they have the right to escort you out.
Why would they do that if I'm conducting business?
But you're not anymore. They're asking you to stop.
I am, though, because I still have to file.
Now the encounter shifts into a deeper constitutional argument as the auditor compares recording rights to freedom of religion and protected speech. He explains that he came to the library for legitimate reasons and insists that peacefully filming government workers is not against the law. The officers continue repeating that staff members are uncomfortable being recorded, but the auditor keeps responding that personal discomfort does not override constitutional protections. This section becomes fascinating because the officers rely heavily on policy language, while the auditor constantly brings the discussion back to the Constitution and case law. The exchange grows more intense when one officer says the Constitution has nothing to do with the situation, immediately triggering a stronger response from the auditor. At this point, the disagreement is no longer about library rules alone. It has become a full-blown argument over whether government policy can legally override constitutional rights inside a public building.
Complaints. I still have to file complaints. I still have to file complaints, and I still have to do a FOIA request. And I still want to pray before I leave.
How do you file a complaint?
On the first floor.
First.
Circulation desk, they'll hand them a piece of paper and
Do you want to go to the first floor?
I was going there before you guys came.
Well, listen, I have no problem you filing a complaint.
If I was committing a crime, this is a public building. You cannot put policy over law. You cannot put policy over law. What if the policy said no black people? You want to enforce that? You can't put policy over law.
That's not going to happen.
The government can't make policies that violate the law or the Constitution. Yeah, I'm going there. You put policy over law? Since when? Fuck out of here. I recorded libraries in every 5 boroughs, all 5 boroughs. And it's not a problem because it's not against the law. You swore to protect my rights. You're supposed to come here and enforce the law, not their policy.
This floor? One more floor? Okay.
Am I being detained?
No, you're not in cuffs. No, you're not.
So I'm free. So I'm free.
No, you
Am I being detained?
You have to leave.
Am I detained for a crime?
Being detained means you're being stopped and you're under investigation.
Am I being detained for a crime?
I just explained to you, not being detained. You do
all right, then, so that means I'm free, right?
I feel like she's explaining things.
Am I detained for a crime?
Come on.
Am I detained for a crime?
We're going to go downstairs and you can make a complaint.
You can go wherever you want. I'm free. I'm not detained.
We are going downstairs and you can either leave or you can go make a complaint. They don't want you in here. They have a right to not have you in here. If you want to take that up civilly, go right ahead and you can make a complaint and start that process. However, their policy says right here, no.
I don't care about their policy, bro. I don't care about their policy, bro. I'm not breaking the law.
What you're doing in here,
I'm not breaking the law.
No,
they don't. No, they don't.
You're violating the
No, they don't. I have a constitutional right to record in public. It's called the First Amendment. It's called the First Amendment. You know what the Constitution is? The highest law of the land. You can't put a fucking library's policy over the Constitution. Are you crazy? You swore over to the Constitution. You didn't swear over to the library's policy. And if they deny me public services, I'm going to sue them. If you violate my rights, I'm going to sue you. You ain't swear over to the library's policy. You forgot what your oath is to? The Constitution. Smug ass. Took an oath for what? Where's your lieutenant at so I can speak to him?
He's on his way. He's on another job.
He probably has more pressing matters than somebody exercising their rights in a public building. Listen, what? Are you gonna honor your oath?
It is what it is. I'm
so what is it? No, it's not.
To escort you out.
Let me ask you a question.
You violated their policy.
Let me ask you a question. Can you put that policy over the law?
Did you not violate their policy? That's right here.
What's higher, that policy or their law?
This is their right. This is their building. This is their establishment.
This is our building. It's the people's building.
Their establishment.
It's a people's building.
And they have a right to escort you out.
It's a public building.
I'm here to do this civilly.
I pay taxes to be in this building.
Okay. My lieutenant's pulling up.
Well, he could come find me.
That's not him. That's traffic with the lights on.
You put policy over law?
I'm putting them right now.
Of course you do.
This is my job.
Of course you do.
This is what I'm here for.
This is where the confrontation completely explodes into a heated back and forth about rights, policies, and government authority. The auditor repeatedly argues that policies cannot supersede the Constitution and compares enforcing unconstitutional policies to enforcing discrimination rules. He openly challenges the officers by demanding to know whether he is being detained or accused of an actual crime. What makes this segment so intense is how relentless the questioning becomes as the auditor repeatedly asks the same legal questions while officers struggle to give direct answers. The conversation turns louder and more emotional as the auditor accuses police of forgetting their oath to uphold constitutional rights. Despite the tension, officers still avoid placing him under arrest while continuing to pressure him to leave voluntarily. This entire section feels like the emotional peak of the encounter because both sides become completely locked into defending their position.
Your job is to
Do you
enforce the
want to
law.
go? Do you want to make a complaint?
Your job is to enforce the law. Is there a law being broken right
Do
now?
you want to
What law am I breaking?
Do you want to make a complaint?
Yeah,
Walk away
don't.
from my
Yeah, avoid that
lieutenant?
question.
Come on.
Avoid that question. What law am I
I've
breaking?
already answered you multiple times.
What
You're
law am I
being
breaking?
disorderly. You're not
How?
under arrest.
How
You
am
are not
how am I
under
being
arrest.
disorderly, ma'am?
Because you're
I'm
violating
recording?
their policies.
Photography
right here,
isn't a crime
right here.
in
Look,
public.
No photographs of the staff, other
Photography
researchers,
isn't
or
a
certain
crime
reading
in
rooms
public,
may be taken.
and you can't turn photography into.
Why'd you show us that piece
You
of
can't
paper?
turn
Now that we-
photography
now that
into
we
a
pointed
crime.
that out, now it doesn't
You
matter.
can't
Now
to
the
show
piece
you
of paper
how
means nothing.
because I record in libraries all over the city.
You're contradicting
Because I have the right
yourself.
to.
You're contradicting yourself.
No, I'm not. I'm following the law.
Yes, you are.
The law that you swore to protect. You enforce the law. You enforce
what we're
policies.
doing.
So
That's
what
we're
law
doing.
am I
We're doing our
breaking?
job.
What law
You're
am I
being
breaking?
disorderly.
How? By
Oh, the
recording?
lieutenant is right here.
Okay. Is he going to help me file my complaint?
He keeps saying he's violating his rights, that we're violating his rights because he's clearly breaking their policy that says no photographs of the staff, other researchers, or certain reading rooms may be taken. And he's saying we're violating his constitutional right that he's allowed to record in here and their policy doesn't matter. And he requested you because
How you
we're
doing?
violating his rights.
All right.
Or this is what I said. I said you can't put their library policy over the law. I'm not breaking the law, which means I have a right to be here. It's a public building.
At this point, the officers continue insisting that the auditor is violating library policy, but the central problem remains unchanged. Nobody can clearly explain what law has actually been broken. The auditor keeps hammering the same point over and over, arguing that photography in public cannot simply be turned into a crime because staff members dislike it. The arrival of the lieutenant changes the atmosphere slightly, as officers begin summarizing the situation and explaining the dispute over constitutional rights and library regulations. What makes this section important is how the auditor stays focused entirely on legality, while officers remain focused on policy enforcement. The disconnect between those two arguments becomes impossible to ignore. Even as supervisors arrive, the core issue still remains unresolved. Is the auditor truly violating the law, or are officers attempting to enforce policies that cannot legally override constitutional protections?
Okay.
My taxes fund this building. Do I not have a right to be here?
Location.
Why? Because I'm exercising my rights in public?
You have to
I'm conducting business in this building, and once I finish my business, I was going to leave.
I know, they don't want you here anymore.
I have to file a complaint. I have the right to redress my government.
I know, but you have to do that. You could probably file a complaint outside, but you have to leave. They don't want you here.
Am I breaking the law?
Well,
Nobody asked me to leave. You guys are the first person that came up to me.
you have to leave.
So if I don't leave, I'm going to get arrested?
Well, yeah.
I need to hear you say that. If I don't leave this building, what's going to happen?
They're going to prosecute you.
You're going to arrest me?
No, the New York City Public Library is going to prosecute you.
Okay, so I have a reasonable amount of time to leave, don't I?
We're actually now. Can you please leave?
Okay, I can't leave through that way. I got to leave through this way.
Which way? That way?
And I still need the information that I came here to get.
I'll give you
Are you going to help me with that?
Yep. Whatever you need outside.
All right. I need all your cards.
Yeah, come on.
And all of your names. So you're saying that you could just trespass people from public for no crime?
They don't want
No
you at
crime.
this location.
No crime. It doesn't matter what they want. I'm
They
not
don't
breaking
want
the
you.
law.
You have to leave, sir.
You going to help me? Get my
I'll help you outside,
information?
absolutely.
So you're just going to violate my rights over a policy, right?
Everything finally reaches its conclusion here as the lieutenant informs the auditor that if he refuses to leave, the library will pursue trespassing charges against him. The auditor immediately presses for clarification, making sure it is clearly stated on camera that he is not being accused of committing any actual crime beyond refusing to comply with the library's demand to leave. What makes this ending powerful is that the auditor never stops emphasizing constitutional rights, public access, and government accountability right up to the final seconds. Even while preparing to leave, he continues demanding badge information and questioning how public officials can remove someone from a taxpayer-funded building over policy alone. The encounter ends without an arrest, but the debate itself remains unresolved and leaves viewers questioning where the line between public policy and constitutional freedom truly exists. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next video.